The air was thick with smoke. Buildings were nothing more than skeletons. This was Setsuko's city, wounded, but not broken. The war had taken so much. Yet life went on. They were going to the marketplace. Food was scarce, but her mother always found a way.
Remember, Setsuko, stay close.
The marketplace was bustling. People bartered for scraps of food. Soldiers marched through the crowd. Setsuko felt a shiver of fear. But she remembered her mother's words. She held on tight. The smell of burnt wood filled her nose. Setsuko coughed. It was a smell she knew all too well. The war had brought nothing but sadness and destruction. Still, Setsuko held on to hope. Hope for a brighter future.
Stay here, Setsuko. I need to trade for some rice.
She found a small, crumbled wall to lean against. Her mother's worn kimono disappeared into the throng of people. Setsuko watched the other children. They kicked a tattered ball in the dust. Their laughter was faint, almost lost in the noise of the marketplace. Setsuko wished she could join them, but her mother's words were her guide. She would stay put. Time seemed to crawl. Setsuko counted the cracks in the wall. She hummed a tune her grandmother had taught her, a tune about cherry blossoms and springtime, a time before the war when peace had painted the sky. Finally, Setsuko spotted her mother. A wave of relief washed over her, but something was wrong. Her mother's shoulders slumped. Her face held a familiar sadness.
Come, Setsuko. Let's go home.
As they turned to leave, Setsuko noticed him, an old soldier sitting alone by a shattered fountain. His uniform hung loosely on his thin frame. His eyes were downcast. Setsuko's heart ached for him. He looked so tired, so defeated. She had seen that look before, on the faces of her neighbors, her friends, even her own reflection.
Mama, the soldier, he looks hungry.
Her mother hesitated. Setsuko knew they had little to spare, but she also knew her mother understood the language of compassion.
You're right, Setsuko. Even a small act of kindness can make a difference.
She reached into their meager bag and pulled out a tiny dried plum. It was all they had left. Setsuko carefully took the plum. She walked over to the soldier, her small hand outstretched.
Excuse me, sir.
The soldier looked up, startled. He saw Setsuko, her eyes wide with concern. He saw the dried plum, a small treasure offered with a giant heart. A wave of emotion washed over his weathered face. Gratitude, surprise, and maybe, just maybe, a flicker of hope.
Thank you, little one.
He carefully ate the plum, savoring every bite. It was more than just food. It was a reminder that even in the darkest of times, kindness could still bloom. As Setsuko and her mother walked away, they heard a soft meow. Hidden beneath a pile of rubble lay a small, injured kitten. Its cries were weak, desperate. Setsuko's heart melted. She couldn't leave it there.
Mama, please, we have to help it.
Her mother hesitated. They could barely feed themselves, let alone a stray kitten. But Setsuko's compassion was unwavering. Gently, Setsuko picked up the kitten. It was so tiny, so fragile. She cradled it close, whispering soothing words. Her mother, her heart touched by her daughter's empathy, found a scrap of cloth to wrap the kitten's injured leg.
Halt!
A stern-faced soldier stood before them, his expression severe. He looked down at the kitten, then at Setsuko and her mother.
What do you think you're doing?
Fear coursed through Setsuko. She clutched the kitten tighter, her small body trembling. Her mother stood protectively in front of her, her voice shaking slightly.
Sir, we found this kitten injured. We're just trying to help it.
The soldier's gaze was unwavering. He looked at their meager belongings, their worn clothes, their empty faces.
Helping a stray? You can barely take care of yourselves.
He reached into the basket Setsuko's mother was carrying. Inside lay a small bag of rice. It was all they had. The soldier snatched the bag, his expression grim.
This is for the war effort.
Setsuko's heart sank. Tears streamed down her face. First, the plum, their only food. Now, their last bit of rice. It wasn't fair. Why did the war have to take everything from them? Her mother, though heartbroken herself, knelt before Setsuko. She wiped away her daughter's tears, her voice soothing.
It's all right, Setsuko. We'll find a way.
The soldier watched the exchange between mother and daughter. He saw the despair in their eyes, the depth of their sacrifice. He thought of his own family, his own children, suffering just like them. A strange feeling tugged at his hardened heart, guilt, regret, or maybe a flicker of the kindness he had witnessed earlier, the kindness of a young girl offering her last plum to a weary soldier. He looked at the kitten, nestled safely in Setsuko's arms. He saw the scrap of cloth, carefully bound around its injured leg. It was a small act of compassion in a world that seemed to have forgotten its meaning. The soldier cleared his throat, his stern facade crumbling slightly. "Wait," he said, his voice softer this time. He reached into his own bag and pulled out a small, crumpled package.
Here, it's not much, but it's something.
He handed the package to Setsuko, mumbling and avoiding her eyes. Setsuko hesitantly took the package, her eyes wide with surprise. Inside she found a handful of dried beans and a small piece of fish. It wasn't much, but it was more than they had before. It was a gift, born out of unexpected kindness. Setsuko's face lit up with a grateful smile.
Thank you, sir.
Her mother too was overwhelmed with gratitude. She bowed deeply, her voice choked with emotion.
Thank you, kind sir. You have no idea what this means to us.
The soldier nodded curtly, a faint blush creeping up his neck. He turned and walked away, his steps lighter than before. The encounter had changed him, reminding him of the humanity that still existed amidst the chaos. Setsuko and her mother made their way home, their hearts full despite the hardships. Setsuko clutched the kitten, now named Hope, close to her chest. It purred softly, a comforting sound in the quiet evening air.
Mama, even in the darkest of times, kindness can shine through.
Her mother smiled, her eyes sparkling with pride.
You are right, Setsuko. Your kindness touched that soldier's heart, just like it touches mine every day.
They arrived home, their small dwelling a beacon of warmth amidst the ruins. Setsuko's grandmother, her face etched with worry, greeted them at the door. Relief washed over her features as she saw they were safe. Setsuko rushed into her grandmother's arms, eager to share the day's adventures. She knew her grandmother would appreciate the tale, for she too believed in the power of kindness. As Setsuko recounted her encounter with the weary soldier, the injured kitten, and the stern soldier's unexpected generosity, her grandmother listened intently. She smiled at her granddaughter's compassionate spirit, a beacon of light in their war-torn world.
Setsuko, your kindness gives me hope. Hope that even in the face of such darkness, compassion can still prevail.
Setsuko's heart swelled with pride. She knew her grandmother was right. Kindness was a powerful force, capable of changing hearts and inspiring hope. The war had taken so much from them. Their city lay in ruins. Food was scarce. Fear was a constant companion. But Setsuko refused to let the darkness extinguish her spirit. She would continue to show kindness, to offer hope, to make a difference, however small. The war may have ravaged their land, but it would never break their spirits. As long as kindness and compassion existed, there was always hope. Hope for a brighter future, a future where peace would once again grace their skies. That night, as Setsuko drifted off to sleep, she thought about the day's events. She realized that even though the war raged on, small acts of kindness could still make a difference. They could bring comfort to a weary soul, heal a wounded creature, and even soften the heart of a hardened soldier. Setsuko's journey to the marketplace had been fraught with challenges and uncertainties. But through it all, her kindness had shone through, a beacon of hope amidst the ruins. She had learned that even in the darkest of times, compassion could prevail, reminding everyone that humanity and empathy were far stronger than war and destruction. The war may have cast a long shadow over their lives, but Setsuko's spirit remained unyielding. She would continue to face each day with courage, kindness, and an unwavering belief in the power of hope. For in a world torn apart by conflict, it was often the smallest acts of compassion that made the biggest difference. And so Setsuko's kindness adventure became a tale whispered among the ruins, a testament to the enduring power of hope and compassion, even in the face of adversity. It served as a reminder that even in the darkest of times, the human spirit, fueled by kindness, could overcome any obstacle and emerge stronger than ever before.